Fentanyl wave angers Trump's three major partners. President Trump has vowed to use tariffs to pressure three major partners, Canada, Mexico and China, to stop the flow of deadly fentanyl into the United States. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on February 1 declaring a national economic emergency, ordering import tariffs on goods from the three largest partners of the United States, Canada, Mexico and China. Trump's new tariffs on these three countries all include provisions to end duty-free shipments worth less than $800, which is considered a loophole that allows many packages of fentanyl and precursors to enter the United States. Mr. Trump said one of the main motivations for imposing tariffs on the three countries was to close this loophole. Under pressure from Mr. Trump's tariffs, Mexico has agreed to tighten controls on its northern border to stop smuggling, especially fentanyl, into the United States. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also announced that the country would deploy new technology and personnel along the border with the United States to stop fentanyl smuggling. In return, the United States will delay the deadline for imposing import tariffs on Mexico and Canada by 1 month. Previously, small shipments of less than $800 were not inspected by customs for duty, making it easier for traders to smuggle them into the United States without being detected. A Reuters investigation last year revealed how Chinese chemical traffickers were using the de minimis exemption to bring precursor shipments to the United States, from where they were transported across the border to fentanyl production facilities in Mexico. The de minimis exemption has been abused by many import industries. This is a problem that Congress, the current and previous administrations have recognized, said Tim Brightbill, co-chair of the US-based law firm Wiley Rein on trade issues. While Chinese suppliers and Mexican cartels have long been accused of trafficking fentanyl into the United States, Trump's tariff order against Canada prefaces the growing problem of drug trafficking from that country. Criminal networks are involved in human trafficking and smuggling, enabling illegal migration across our northern border. In addition, Mexican cartels are increasingly operating fentanyl and nitazoxanide production facilities in Canada. The order states, nitazoxanide is a fentanyl-like compound. The order adds that drug trafficking exploiting de minimis policies has created a public health crisis in the United States. Abuse of fentanyl, a highly addictive painkiller that is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, is expected to cause nearly 75,000 deaths in the United States in 2023. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the number of de minimis shipments entering the United States duty-free has increased significantly since 2015. When the threshold for duty-free shipments was raised from $200 to $800 per shipment. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, estimates that it now processes more than 1 billion such shipments each year. Census Bureau data show that low-value shipments are the 8th largest category of U.S. imports from China, with a total value of $4.7 billion in 2023. More than double the value in 2014. President Joe Biden, before leaving office in January, issued a new rule aimed at curbing de minimis shipments globally, denying duty-free shipments of goods subject to other U.S. tariff sanctions. The Biden administration has previously said it is working to close trade loopholes that traffickers exploit to smuggle fentanyl precursors into the United States. Fentanyl is the leading cause of drug overdose deaths in the United States that have skyrocketed in recent years. The rate of fentanyl overdose deaths has recently dropped slightly, but it is still much higher than 5 years ago. In 2021, more than 107,000 Americans died from drug overdoses, with 70% of those deaths involving fentanyl or similar synthetic opioids. In 2022, fentanyl killed an average of 200 people every day. The U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security in 2023 declared fentanyl the biggest challenge we face. Ending the fentanyl crisis is no easy task, observers say. When past policies failed to curb fentanyl deaths, President Trump wants to turn to another tool to address the problem: trade policy. Since his election campaign, Mr. Trump has pledged to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico if they do not stop the flow of drugs across the U.S. border, and has threatened to hit China with tariffs if it does not do more to control the production of synthetic fentanyl precursors. Law enforcement agencies and U.S. government officials agree that most of the precursors used to synthesize fentanyl originate in a supply chain that stretches from companies in China to drug cartels in Mexico. The U.S. has for years accused China of blocking efforts to target this precursor supply chain, a claim Beijing has denied. In 2019, under pressure from Trump, China implemented a number of crackdowns, including adding fentanyl to its list of controlled substances. In 2024, under the Biden administration, Chinese officials implemented new regulations to crack down on money laundering by drug cartels and made several arrests. By October 2024, a growing number of U.S. officials and experts on fentanyl trafficking said these measures had finally squeezed the flow of fentanyl to the United States, making it harder to find. However, China's foreign ministry said Trump's new tariffs would undermine cooperation in combating illicit trafficking. The administration of Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has also stepped up its anti-drug efforts, working closely with U.S. law enforcement to target cartels. According to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, the amount of fentanyl seized by the U.S. at the southern border dropped by about 20% last year. Experts say this is a dramatic change for Mexico compared to the previous administration. The administration of former President Andrés Manuel López Obrador was controversial for implementing a soft policy on drug cartels. Most experts believe that Mexican cartels bribed many government officials to operate smoothly. In the tariff decree, Mr. Trump said that Canada is seeing an increase in drug distribution as many Mexican cartels operate in this North American country. However, law enforcement experts say that Canada only plays a small part in the problem of fentanyl smuggling into the U.S. Prime Minister Trudeau said on the evening of February 1 that the amount of drugs smuggled from Canada accounts for less than 1% of the fentanyl supply in the U.S. Data from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration shows that in 2024, only about 19 kilograms of fentanyl will be seized at the northern border, a fraction of the more than 9.5 tons seized at the Mexican border. Before Mr. Trump announced the tariffs, Canadian law enforcement agencies had been planning to crack down on fentanyl production groups in hopes of curbing the country's own drug crisis. Daniel Anson, Director of Intelligence and Investigations at the Canada Border Services Agency, said that, "We are absolutely not going to be the weak link in the smuggling of fentanyl into the U.S. However, the U.S. appears to want Canada to be more determined." Howard Lutnick, his nominee for Secretary of Commerce, called on Canada to respect the United States during his confirmation hearing last week. "If we are your largest trading partner, show us some respect. Close the border and stop the fentanyl from coming into this country," Lutnick said.